Hey, so today I'm going to be doing my top 14 books of 2014. This is kind of overdue because I filmed this 2 times already, and those times did not go very well, so hopefully this time will be better. This is about a boy named Jonas who lives in a utopian society, and in this utopian society he is selected to be, he's chosen to be like taught by the giver, and the giver is going to impart on him wisdom and history and kind of the truth of their society that he will have to like be responsible for now. And so it's kind of about this society and about this boy learning about pain and struggle and about the truth about things and stuff like that. It's a classic. Everyone read it like forever ago, and I finally read it last year and I loved it so much. It just stayed with me for a while after I read it. I read it really quickly. Because it's very simply written, but it's very, very beautiful. It's about a girl named Mia who has a lot of choices to make. She's kind of at this stage in her life where she has all these choices, and then something happens, and then she only has one choice to make, and that's kind of what the book is about. I really like this book. The thing I liked the most was the family. The family, I just loved them. They were just like, you get to know them throughout the book, and it's kind of heartbreaking, and just, I love them so much. And I just loved the way that the relationships were formed and kind of how we got to see things. There were flashbacks throughout the book, which I know a lot of people don't like, but it just fits so well with this book and made it really amazing and made it even more like emotional. And it was just a really sad but good experience to read it. 13 girls get stranded on an island and they kind of have to survive, and they're beauty queens, and so they each have their own personalities, and they each, you know, were participating in a beauty pageant. It sounds strange and weird and kind of almost like satire, and it is to a certain extent. It is very sarcastic, and it's sort of written in this, it's written in a very different form. It's kind of like a TV show, like there are infomercial breaks and there are footnotes a lot of the time that kind of, you know, tell you about certain things and are kind of the narrator telling you about, for instance, what's it called? Product placement or something like that that's in the novel. So it's kind of strange, but really awesome and really different. It's very character driven. The plot is sort of, you shouldn't take it too seriously because it is, I mean, it's 13 beauty queens stranded on a deserted island. But yeah, I just really love the writing. I love Libba Ray's writing. Really love the storyline, and the characters were really interesting, and it really made me think. It had very serious topics in it, but it dealt with it with a light hand. And it was just really interesting. This is about a couple, Nick and Amy Dunn, who are married, and on their 5th wedding anniversary Amy goes missing and people think that it's Nick, and you kind of are wondering, or you as the reader are left wondering what happened, like who is right. You get to see from 2 perspectives, Nick's perspective in the present time and Amy's perspective through diary entries that she's written before the event when she disappeared. And it just is really awesome to read. It's really awesome to read these characters who are so dark and so interesting and so unexpected. I love Gillian Flynn's characters, and I also hate them at the same time. They are so interesting, like I said, and so fascinating, but at the same time you kind of feel a little bit unhealthy when you spend too much time with them, and I'd never actually want to meet one of these people in real life. Maybe from afar. But yeah, it's just such an interesting story. There is a mystery, but I think it's secondary to the kind of characters and relationships that happen in the story and the darkness of that. And I just really loved it, and I love the movie as well. It's about a boy named Light Yagumi who finds a death notebook, which is a book where you write someone's name and that person will die, and there are rules that come along with that. And instead of being scared of this book and not knowing what to do, he decides to rid the world of all evil. So it's a very simple plot, but there's a lot that it can do and a lot of places that it can go, and there's a lot of moral complexities, and the characters are amazing. It's just a really great book. The drawings are really also like awesome, and the expressions and the detail is really good. This is based on a Russian fairy tale about a snow child who brings magic and wonder and love into an elderly couple's life. And in this book, this is about Jack and Mabel, and they moved from England, I think it is, to Alaska to start anew and to like build a life for themselves there. I really loved the complexities of their relationship and the kind of loneliness that there was and the isolation that there was, both as a couple and individuals, the struggles and the depression that they were going through, and it's just so sad, and the sadness is beautiful, really. Like the relationship and the way that it is and kind of how they are as individuals is what I really loved about this book, because I connected and related so well to this elderly couple, and it was just amazing and beautiful, and a snow child comes into their life and brings wonder and magic like the fairy tale, and it's just a beautiful book to read. The scenery, the place, the setting is beautiful, but also the story and kind of the characters are beautiful as well. Such a beautiful book, and I love it so much. This is the second book in the duology by Alison Goodman called, the first one was called Eon, and this is Eon, obviously. I just love this book so much. There are dragons, which just is amazing, and the world building is incredible. The relationships and kind of the diversity of the characters is amazing as well. I really just loved this book so much. There's a bookmark in here. And yeah, it is such a good book, so amazing. I read it a long time ago. It was the first book of 2014, so I don't remember everything about it, but I could not stop reading this book when I did read it. It was just so action-packed, and so, like, I was always on the edge of my seat wondering what was going to happen next, and so excited to read it. So yeah, definitely recommend it. In this book, dragons can turn into like human form, and there used to be wars between dragons and humans, but now dragons have kind of entered into the human world, into the royal like court. But there's still a lot of mistrust there and a lot of tension, and then someone from the royal family dies, and you know, the tension increases and they don't know who it is. And this story is told through the perspective of Seraphina, who's a really gifted musician who's just come into the royal court and kind of gets involved in the investigation and like the mystery and stuff. And yeah, that's kind of what it's about. It's really beautifully written. The characters are really interesting. Seraphina is also so interesting and so intelligent as well, and she's one of those characters who's smart and said to be smart in the book and actually acts smart. Like, she doesn't make dumb decisions. That's not how the plot like moves forward. It just is amazing. Another thing I really liked, other than the characters, is that this book was like, it's one of those books where you are fascinated by what's happening and you love reading it, and you're like, you want to read it and you're enjoying the reading experience, but you're never pushed to read. I never felt like I had to turn the next page, but I wanted to turn the next page, if that makes sense. This is the third book in the Lunar Chronicles series. The first is Cinder, the second is Scarlet, and this is Chris. All of those books have been in like my top books of the year. I just love reading them so much. They're all fairy tale retellings set in the same world. This one is based on Rapunzel, and yeah, it's just awesome and so much fun to read, and I just love the characters and the relationships, and it's so fast paced and so much fun to read. Like, it's just the most fun to read, and I just love it. Rainbow Rowell is just such an awesome writer. I just love everything that she writes. She definitely deserves all the hype that she gets. Fangirl, I just loved it so much. I loved the story, the dialogue, the characters was amazing, and I just had such a good time reading it. Like, I just enjoyed reading it and I couldn't put it down, and it was just amazing and so well written. Eleanor and Park is just so beautiful. The romance, the relationships that happened, everything that happened, there was a lot of sad parts, but it was still like funny, and it reminded me a little bit of The Fault in Our Stars in that way. But yeah, the dialogue and the relationships were so real. Her characters were so real, and I think that's mostly because of the dialogue and how awesome it is and how just amazing it is. She's just such a great writer. I can't wait to read more of her books, and these were just amazing. This book is incredible. It was just so amazing to read. It's so unexpectedly good. I thought it was going to be good, but I was not expecting it to be a favorite and for it to be this amazing. It is so imaginative, so creative, and so intricate as well, so intelligent, which I wasn't expecting it to be. The narration is like, it kind of feels like someone's telling you a secret, or kind of like telling you a story, and it felt like, you know, the narrator was speaking directly to me. And also this commentary on how narcissistic children are that kind of goes over the top, which is really strange and was really interesting as well. It would go over like a child's head if you read it to them, but as an adult, you can kind of see it. And the characters were also really awesome. Peter is just one of the most complex characters I've ever seen. He's shown, especially because of the narcissistic thing, he's shown very flawed as a very flawed character, but he also has his good parts. But none of his bad parts are sort of like hidden or sort of justified at all. Like, he's good and bad, and he's still the hero of the story, and it's just really interesting. And it was just such an amazing book, so well written, so well put together. There was just so much in it. Definitely recommend. This is the second book in the trilogy, and I read the second and the third book this year or last year, and I love them so much. They're about a boy named Todd who lives in a world where there are no secrets because you can hear everyone else's thoughts, and there's no privacy, and then one day Todd stumbles onto this place of complete quiet, and along with that come all these secrets and all this mystery and a lot of danger, and he kind of has to run for his life. So it's amazing, it's so unique, so original, and so different. I really loved Todd and all the other characters. They were so interesting, and their development was amazing, like incredible. The plot was really interesting as well, and it just was so surprising, and it didn't hold back, and I did not know what to expect. Like, I just was on the edge of my seat. I didn't know what was gonna happen, who was gonna die, because a lot of people died. It was just such an amazing book, such an amazing series, and I definitely recommend it. And if you have read the first book and you kind of are iffy about it, definitely read the second book because it gets so much better. I read all through these volumes in 2014 and they were amazing. It's about this couple who are on opposite sides of a galactic war that's been going on for a really long time, and they kind of come together and they fall in love and they have a baby, which is over here, and it's kind of about their new family and about them kind of trying to survive in this crazy, amazing, just huge world where there's war, and they're trying to, you know, make their family work, and it's just so amazing. You get to see a lot of different strands, a lot of different like storylines that are happening, not just them, and the characters are so diverse and so interesting and so funny. The writing is funny, it just keeps you like gripped to the story, or keeps you compelled when you're reading the story. The world is amazing, the drawing or the artwork that's in it is also incredible. I just love it so much. It is just the best graphic novel series. I'm so glad that I read it, and I love it so much. This is a Peter Pan retelling. It's about a boy named Peter who goes into the real world and kind of tricks, or tries to steal, I guess, in a way, children from the real world and bring them to a magical place called Avalon. And he kind of, you know, goes to children who are in trouble and who are in like a bad situation, and tells them that he can take them out of the situation and help them. But what the children don't know is that Avalon is not so magical as it used to be. It's not maybe as a happy place as they were expecting. There's war, there's a lot of dangerous things going on, and he's kind of using them in a way. So yeah, it's very interesting, very dark, very, very dark actually. I just loved it so much. The writing is amazing, it doesn't hold back at all, it just puts it all out there. It's very raw and very like, it just doesn't hide in anything or doesn't like shy away from any topic that happens, and it was amazing, and it was so unpredictable, and it just kept me gripped the whole way through. The characters are so complex and so amazing. Peter, again, is an amazing character, so diverse, so complex. He just has an amazing backstory, and it's so sad, and just the way he thinks and what he's like doing. He's a good character, but at the same time he's, you know, stealing children and bringing them into a very dangerous situation. So it was really interesting to see how he was thinking and what went through his mind and what happened to him. And just the world is amazing. Avalon is just this magical place that kind of has gone dark, and it's just such a great book. So these are all the amazing books that I read in 2014. I look forward to all of the amazing books in 2015, and also I'll leave links if you want to buy any of these in the description box below. And yeah, that's it. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.